Welcome into the DNVR Avalanche podcast presented by DraftKings Sportsbook. Use code DNVR to sign up for a new account and get amazing odds boosts every single day. Got a pick of the week for you here. You may remember from our, if you watched it, our logo show where we all picked our favorite logos, the Glasgow Clan. They are playing this evening in the English Premier Hockey League. They are slight favorites at minus 150 on the money line, but plus 175 on the puck line, or if you want to go for the 60-minute line, plus 110. So got a lot of decent options to bet on some really weird and wacky hockey if you want to get in on some of the English Premier Hockey League action. I couldn't tell you any of the ex-NHLers that are playing over there right now, but I'm sure there's a few. I know Patrick Bordelot went over there for a little while after he left the U.S., so could be some interesting names. That's all I'm saying. So go over there. You can bet on nonsense like the English Premier Hockey League or, actual NHL and sorry, England, but quality hockey leagues out there if you want to on DraftKings as well. So download the top-rated DraftKings Sportsbook app now. Use that DNVR code to sign up to get amazing odds, including bet $5 and win $200 on any college basketball conference championship. And yeah, go to DraftKings.
The Buffs gonna beat the Wildcats to make it to the Pac-12 championship?
I don't think so.
Yeah, I don't either.
You never know, though. You never know.
They did just beat them in Boulder like 2 weeks ago.
And of course, if you have a gambling problem, call 1-800-522-4700. Got it in there. Okay. It's the day so many of you have been waiting for. Roasting Avalanche rosters.
Roasting!
Really, it's not really a roster roast this time, right? It's like we're roasting your trade propositions. Yeah. So maybe trade roasting is a little bit more accurate, but
it doesn't have the same clever ring to it as roast my roster.
True. It does not. We tried to do our best to get a little bit of everything, get a little eclectic on the trades here. We have some good, some bad, some what the actual F.
That's why Blaise is here. Because it was just going to be the three of us, and then Blaise put his in, I don't know, like an hour ago, and we were all just like, what the actual fuck is this? So now Blaise is here on the show.
That's right. That's right.
Before we jump in, real quick news, obviously, Joe Pavelski did sign an extension in Dallas, so that's not happening. Sucks if you wanted Joe Pavelski, I guess.
There goes that video that we will now not post.
Yep, no one will ever see that video.
Although it is funny because we do make reference to him in other videos.
Yeah.
That we can't now just be like, well, those are there.
I do want to put, because someone was talking about Z tweeting about AJ laughing and cackling. That was actually about a police chase.
It was.
His extremely loud laughter pre-show was for a police chase video.
It was. Yeah. I'm a well-rounded person, okay? I like what I like. Bad rosters and police chases.
Look, it was a bad police chase.
I mean, he was right there the whole time. It wasn't even a chase. It was just like watching a bad game of hide and seek.
Okay. Are we ready to jump into our first trade here?
Hell yeah. And also, I like that Yahir's in control of us, so we don't know which roster is coming up.
No idea what roster is one after the other here. But let's go. Show us what we got. All right. Hold on. I want to know the titles. I need to know the titles.
Fuck. Good thing I got new glasses this week.
Yes. Maybe it was terrible, but this might not be. Okay.
I love that you guys had a great time with the titles and we're throwing all kinds of nonsense in there as well.
Whoever said like French fries and peanut butter, what is wrong with you? Okay.
That was I was like, never thought about it. It could work.
No, it can't.
Oh. Peanut butter sucks.
All right. This one starts off with a trade for Noah Gregor, Tyson Jost, and a third to San Jose for that.
This is one of those deals that I absolutely my thought is, but why?
You didn't really. You gave up a third to get the same dude, kind of.
Yeah, because it's kind of like, okay, like I totally understand. Tyson Jost, like,
You love
time
it,
to
let it
move
go.
on, like whatever, whatever. And then it's just like, but for Noah Gregor,
Might actually have less offense than Tyson Jost.
what?
That's what I was gonna say. It's like, who has the higher ceiling in this, right? Like, is it?
Okay,
I mean,
this is an amazing comment. I think Noah Gregor made this roster.
I hope Noah Gregor watches our show.
Yeah, I hope Noah Gregor's just randomly a huge fan of the show and is like, I'm trading myself to the Avs. I'm in a cup chase, baby. Let's go. That's the only way that this one would make sense. That might have been that Chris Malick wins. He solved it.
Yeah,
like it's just such a random. And there were a couple of deals that I loved that where people were just like, look, I'm trading for this guy. That's just it. I'm trading for this random guy.
I have one of those.
Great, totally. Now the other deal here.
Yes, the big one.
Yeah.
Claude Giroux and Travis Sanheim, which I do want to talk about because there are quite a few guys that seemed interested in trading for Sanheim.
I tried all night to find a way that I was comfortable making it work, and I couldn't do it.
In this case, they end up giving Ryan Murray, Martin Kaut, JT Compher, a first, a second, and Drew Hellison.
That's genuinely a lot.
It's a lot, but I also think like that's what you're going to have to give up if it's Sanheim and Giroux.
So you pay the premium to get them to take the cap dump of Murray as well.
Right.
Well, and the first and the second, those are great pieces. Hellison it's going to be Hellison or Barron.
Yeah,
that has to go because the Flyers want whichever of those 2D that they're going to trade for. They've already Chuck Fletcher's not rebuilding. They are trying to win again next year.
Yep. That's a drop that dude into the lineup.
Exactly. So whoever they trade for, they want to drop into the NHL. So Drew Hellison, a first and a second. The first and the second, those are always going to be good assets. Drew Hellison drops into the NHL next season. Bam. Very much fits a classic Flyers style, right?
Little mean,
he's big, he's physical, he's mean. So fits very much like a Flyer identity. And Martin Kaut, I think, is a sneaky good ad here because it hasn't worked in Colorado. But if you just watch him play, you're like, this guy's everywhere in the AHL. He's not a dominant player, but he's just a really smart, good player.
And like you said, it makes a ton of sense for a team like Philly who's like, hey, we can just drop this dude into our roster.
Right. See how this guy does in our NHL lineup. JT Compher, you've got to make some money work somewhere here.
Yep.
Because the Avs can't just take on $7 million here, and that's with me including
the Seattle retention.
It's
here, yeah.
It's a lot of money because Sanheim makes just I think 4.25, something like that.
Yeah.
So he makes between 4 and 5. So this is a lot of money, and so Compher pretty much has to go back in this deal. The Flyers don't really need JT Compher. They've got a bunch of guys like that already, which is probably their problem. And then Ryan Murray, look, this is just a body that they can play on defense till the year runs out. Like that's really just it. They're not going to hold a lot of trade value, but needed some salary to go the other way. If I'm in Philly's shoes, this isn't enough for me.
Yeah, I think it's a little light too.
I would be asking instead of Kaut, I would be wanting Olesen because Travis Sanheim is a legit.
But
like
I
Travis Sanheim is legit.
Borderline impossible to pull Sanheim out of there. Like,
yeah. So this is a good price for like. I think this would be a lot more appropriate for say Giroux and Braun.
Yep.
It'd probably be a little heavy.
I think
be a little on the heavy side for Giroux and Braun, but this is okay. Thank you, Eddie. $4.7 million for Sanheim.
Yeah.
So, but for Giroux and Sanheim, this is probably too light. But I if you just replace Kaut with Olesen, you're probably there.
So in the ballpark.
Yeah, here, scroll down just a little bit. Scroll down just a little bit.
He just wants to see the picks.
Where the cap.
Yeah.
Well, I want to see the cap too. Like, where are we at
Yeah.
with this?
There you go. So
Okay.
technically
Just
over, but I don't think he included the retention from Seattle. So
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
but
yeah, okay.
also,
Yeah,
like,
no,
you
that's
could-
an additional detail.
You can always just drop a Curtis McDermott to the
it's
AHL
down.
or
That's what I
something.
did. And
Whatever.
whatever. So yeah, close enough that
To
it's
solve a cap
functional.
problem.
I'm assuming most people didn't actually set their lineups. I don't know if we even need to look at them. Yeah, he just has Drew at the bottom. Okay, so he didn't set it. That's fine.
Yeah.
He's got Maltsev on there too.
Hang on, go back to that. Where's Sanheim?
Keep scrolling down. He's probably just on
Is
the
he
left.
just below McDermott?
At the
Below
bottom.
Jack,
Okay,
yeah.
okay, there we go.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So a somewhat reasonable one. Shout out to Noah Gregor himself. To start things off, what do we have next? Yeah. Yes, Lord Stanley's Jello mold.
No offense, we're not reading all that.
Yeah, some of you wrote genuine novels on your
Yeah.
explanation of the team, and I was like, just show me what trades you had. Sorry.
Yeah. We're not gonna read all that on the show. I read it last night. We're not reading it on the show.
Okay, so we're starting off with a trade that was very, very popular in Claude Giroux and Justin Braun going to Colorado.
That trade happened in a lot of the deals.
Yep. You had
Like, my brain started to kind of just like melt out, and like my eyes glaze when I would see Giroux and Braun, and I'm just like, what's the difference in all these? I wonder if a real GM feels that way. Like, I wonder if Chuck Fletcher's just like, I've got 7 offers for Claude Giroux, and they're all kind of the same crap. How do you sift through it?
In this case, it's Drew Hellison, Ryan Murray, Sampo Ranta, Tyson Jost, a first and a third.
That's a pretty big, like, Tyson Jost goes on your NHL roster as an RFA to be like a guy that they'll keep for probably a year or two. Drew Hellison, we talked about. Murray, we talked about. Sampo Ranta is kind of that bridge between. I don't even know. I would say he's a lower tiered prospect than Kaut, just based on their success in the AHL this year.
I'd put him in the same, more or less, category.
Yeah, probably. If you're on the pyramid, they're probably on the same level. Definitely more of a Flyers type of big guy that runs into people.
Yeah, for sure.
And then the first and the third, this is probably more of the Sanheim package than a Braun package.
It feels a hair expensive. It does.
Yeah, it does. It feels with it being Sampo and Jost. You're probably I don't really know. I don't really know how to value Jost and Comfer, which we'll see with my horrible roster later on. I just didn't know I didn't really know what to do. So I think this is absolutely in the ballpark, at least.
Okay. Next one, Jesse. Do you have any interest in giving up these things for Paul Stastny? It's Darren Helm, Bocage, McDonald, which it's just a bunch of stuff.
Yeah,
and then a second round pick.
I love that there's a 4th round pick coming back too. Like,
I mean, that's one of those ones where it's like, I just don't know why Winnipeg would have a ton of interest in that. Like,
right, Winnipeg loves they love that 2nd round pick, right?
Right. Yeah, I was gonna say that's really about it. All the rest of it is just kind of like, yeah, stuff. I don't remember which one of you just said that. It's just like, here, take all of this. You can't really do anything with. I mean, Jacob McDonald, like, you know, he's a fringe 7th D, but
yeah. I mean, he's like 29 years old.
Right.
Like,
he doesn't fit into
Winnipeg really at all.
Yeah, he doesn't fit into Winnipeg's system at all. Like, that's not the game they play. Like, he would not thrive there at all.
Well, like
you could almost
who's he ahead of in their lineup? Like, who does he?
You could almost just take everything but Paul Stastny and the 2nd round pick away.
And just a second straight up for Stastny.
and then you maybe throw in like a 4th to get them to retain a little bit. Because all the rest of the stuff.
It's kind of just stuff.
Yeah.
The last trade, I do think it's an interesting concept. I think the value, you're way way off on, but Calle Yarncroke and a fourth for JT Compher and Shane Bowers.
I don't think the value is that off here. It's mostly just how does Seattle value Compher?
I don't think they're going to value him very much. I also don't.
I just don't think, I don't think Calle Yarncroke has a ton of value either. Like, he's an okay third liner who's been remarkably consistent in his career. He struggles to break 30 points on a regular basis, but he scores 12-ish, 13-ish goals every single season. He's 30 years old, and he's a UFA to be. I don't think that there's very much value in Calle Yarncroke. Like, Shane Bowers is a decent young prospect for a system that essentially doesn't exist. So I think that would be fine. But Compher, where does Compher fit in with a team that already has a bunch of Compher types? Does Compher just replace Yarncroke in their lineup?
That's my problem. Like, for Seattle, you're just swapping Compher and Yarncroke, and then I guess you're giving up a fourth for Shane Bowers.
I guess the fourth doesn't make sense to me. If the fourth just Compher and Bowers, I think
I don't see how the Avs get a pick back in that deal, but it's a thing. I do think it is an interesting look. Someone we haven't really talked about that, if you like Yarncroke to shore up the Avs forward depth, perhaps, but it does feel like a pretty sideways move if you're doing Yarncroke for Compher.
Yeah, that's a more but same but different.
Yeah. Okay.
So
this one is well under the salary cap too.
Yeah.
With $2 million almost, not quite 2 million, but more than $1.5 million to play with on that front.
And they get 4th round picks.
Yep. They get a 4th round pick.
And that consecutive years, so that's fun.
I mean, it's even further under the cap space than that, right? Because they're Seattle's retaining some cap space there too, right?
He did it correctly, so it'll actually account.
Oh, did he? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Trying to learn how to use all the different tools, because we do this twice a year, and I don't ever mess with this stuff otherwise. And they add tiny little things behind the scenes all the time, and I'm just wow, there's a lot of stuff to this now.
We didn't pick their roster because obviously Pavelski signed today, but someone traded for Joe Pavelski and had Dallas retaining $3 on one of these deals, and it made me laugh.
I think one of the ones that we picked has a really random retention amount too.
I didn't know if it was asking for percentage or the actual dollar. So yeah, I had my first try. Yeah, someone was retaining $50.
Yeah. I also had to delete, revert trade, and redo a few of them just to try and learn how to use them. Yeah, learn how to use the cap-friendly tools.
Reversions for sure along the way of that one. All right, well, these roster roasts are brought to you all by Ranch Riders. So be sure to jump on with the Ranch Rider train. They're a bunch of cocktails in a can. They're absolutely delicious. You can get them with their ranch water, their reposado tequila, and the vodka that I never remember that's 6X distilled. So either way, some delicious stuff. They're one of the top 10 selling alcohols in the country. And they're good because they started in a food truck. And that's just where the best food and, in this case, alcohol comes from. So go check out Ranch Riders today. Highly recommend you get in on some delicious ones. I say this every time, but they literally, you cannot find them upstairs at the bar because our entire company just drinks them. If you bring them out, they'll be gone within 30 minutes.
Fact.
So check out Ranch Riders. Go over there. Also a great time to sign up for a DNVR Avalanche membership. We've posted a couple of different articles yesterday, as well as Megan had a piece earlier this week. Bunch of stuff on there to go sign up.
Gambling weekend primer just dropped.
There you go. Go make some money. Between Blaise and Jesse, you should be rolling it in at this point.
Just make the money to pay for your membership.
There you go. The easy life. Easy life.
And then buy a yacht.
Yeah.
One step at a time. Either way, great time to get a membership. It comes with a free DNVR shirt when you get an annual one. Word on the street is we just got a restock of the Four Norsemen, extremely popular one, and looking forward to reuniting the Four Norsemen. Hopefully this season.
Still hoping to see them play together.
Yeah,
at
they
some
played
point.
like one game, one period together or something ridiculous, but it'll come. It'll come. So go get your Four Norsemen, send good vibes out into the world on that one. Second period of the DNVR Avalanche podcast presented by DraftKings Sportsbook. We got a lot of trades to get through, so let's just keep rolling.
Yeah, we got a lot today. This is gonna be a longer show.
I'm just seeing this police chase.
Yeah.
Telling you, it's hide and seek, man.
This one, blue cheese is better than ranch.
Oh my god.
I do like his team explanation is that ranch is more versatile. But blue cheese is way better on hot wings. I also love that the comments
Still wrong, but
I love that the comments were not so much a commentary on his trades, but rather his
that
blue
ranch is
cheese.
way better.
Yeah, his blue cheese take. Was somebody in there said that blue cheese is for adults and ranch is for kids? It got serious.
So his first trade has been a lot more interesting given Anaheim's move towards looking like they're going to be sellers at the deadline.
Yeah.
Josh Manson with some retention for Sampo Ranta, Ryan Murray, and a first. That's real expensive.
I think that this is right in the neighborhood of what they are looking for Manson. I would agree with you, given how I feel about Josh Manson and that he's mad overrated these days. I do think that that's too much, but I think this is right in the wheelhouse of what they would want. And isn't Sampo Ranta doesn't he just feel like a Ducks player?
He's like a poor man's Corey Perry if he learns how to be an asshole. Yeah,
right. Like he just feels like it just seems like he's absolutely like that guy.
Yeah, he's a north-south skater, and he is physical. Now he just has to become an asshole.
Yeah, he's got to stop smiling. He's got to start shit-talking other players and challenging the fights.
Well, you can smile. Yeah, you can smile while you say awful things to other players.
You know a little something about that, Blaise?
I was gonna say it sounds
no.
Trash talking your kids the other day.
Well, my friends always say if Blaise is smiling more, then you should be concerned.
Okay.
So I think it's right in the wheelhouse for Manson, but Manson in Colorado is a really interesting idea that I'm hoping we don't have to talk more about, but I'll tell you, he's the older school types in Colorado's front office that really want that kind of guy are going to push for Josh Manson.
Is this Patrick Nemeth V2?
Well, I think Manson's probably better than Nemeth.
Sure, but same archetype.
Yeah, I mean, sure. Like that archetype, Manson plays on the right side. He's big and mean. Josh Manson's a mean son of a bitch on the ice. And I still think Colorado is looking for that personality on their back end, looking for a little more snarl.
Next up, we have Connor Garland going to the Avs from Vancouver for Comfort, Justin Barron, Jean-Luc Foudy, and a second.
This is a lot.
It not only is it a lot, but I mean, look, realistically, it would be weird for Vancouver to dip on Connor Garland this quickly.
Yeah.
So it would probably take a lot to get him out of there. I don't think he's worth this package, though. It looks like
Comfer is kind of like Vancouver doing the Avs is solid, right? Also,
yeah,
the Avs need that money to come off their books if they're going to be doing any of this stuff.
Yep.
And Barron is the centerpiece of this deal. For me, I'm good with Comfer, Barron, and then one of these two last pieces, Foudy or the second, but both is a bridge too far. Because Connor Garland, this is more of a package that you would put together for JT Miller. Although Foudy would have to be replaced by probably a Sampo. But I think for Garland, because Garland's not a leading man. Garland's going to come in and he's going to play where exactly? he just takes right next to Alex Newhook.
Yep.
Because he's not going to slot in on that second line, I don't think. But he rolls next to Newhook. The problem being, all right, you have a really skilled third line, but now you have a small, not
He's
physical.
like 5. Yeah, he's
Third
5'8".
Yeah,
I think they have listed. They
Like,
have him
he-
listed
like-
at 5'10".
like Connor Garland went in the 5th round because he's a small star, and he's just outplayed that draft position by being very, very skilled. And he works hard, and we've seen him obviously with the way that the Avs targeted him and bodied him individually over the years in Arizona. Like, he does mix it up. It may not necessarily go well for him, but he'll engage.
So I'm given to understand, based on a couple things that I've heard, that Nathan MacKinnon actually doesn't like this dude. There's an actual problem there between them from their time at Shattuck.
I do think that there is a locker room issue there, definitely.
Yeah, and yeah. So I mean, I don't know if Connor Garland's fallen into your lap. If you're Joe Sakic, I don't know if you can't let that stop you. Yeah, I'm giving
you go to Nate MacKinnon, you have the conversation.
Especially if you're removing a well-liked guy like Comfort, because again, I'm given to understand that this goes back to when they were together at Shattuck. That there's actual I don't really fuck with that dude beef between them.
I think
I will tell you, I think that's kind of funny because last night during the Avs-Canes game, I was watching the Canes broadcast and they were talking about Jesper Fast being Swedish. And so he's therefore friends with Gabe Landeskog. Mm-hmm. And I was like, so are all Swedes friends? Yes. Are you telling me that every Canadian hockey player is friends? And it's like, oh, so Garland and MacKinnon are just boys? Because they went to Shattuck together?
And now again, I don't know that Nathan MacKinnon didn't tell me that, but just some of the stories I've heard that it sounds like that helmet throw maybe had a little bit more stank behind it than we all thought.
Yeah, it wasn't the first time he's thrown a helmet at Connor Garland.
Yeah. Well, it wasn't the first thing he's thrown at him.
Yeah. Anyway,
we should maybe pick up the pace a little.
Yeah, I do think that I like this. I pulled this one because I thought it was an interesting idea. It was different, and Garland is the kind of. I don't think this is a deadline thing, but I do think a Garland type is exactly what they're going to target in the summer.
There's another trade here, real quick. Matt Nieto for Knack, Trent Miner, and a 5th. I think you just remove Trent Miner from that deal, whatever. But
I honestly, just the 5th should be fine for San Jose.
Sure, I don't think it really matters either way. It's another bottom 6 guy that I don't know if he really makes you better.
Yeah.
Okay. Just checking on that. Salary cap looks like you're in good stead on that front.
That might be why Abe Kubel got tossed into that deal. Make the cap work.
Shed $250K in cap or something.
Yeah. And you can see the idea of Josh Manson next to Sam Girard and then Byram next to either one of the Johnsons. You're like, damn, that's a deep defense.
Yep.
And you're very interested in that. And then if one of the Johnsons doesn't play well, then you feel good about swapping them out. And then Matt Nieto is just sort of a known quantity for you.
Mm-hmm.
For sure. Okay, on to the next. I feel like we haven't gotten one that's way out there yet. This one very boringly named DNVR trade deadline. It starts with Claude Giroux for Comfort, Hellison, Count, and a 2nd. Do we feel like that's a fair value?
I
don't know if that's enough.
I think if the 2nd is the 1st, you're home.
Okay.
Well, see, that's one of those ones to me where I could actually see that ending up being the trade and it being the whole I can't believe they didn't get a 1st, and then you find out later that Claude Giroux was yeah, I want to go to the Avs or the Golden Knights, and the Golden Knights can't make it work, and it's this is the best you're going to get or nothing.
The total lack of leverage costs them the 1st and gets them the 2nd.
Or maybe it's a conditional. So I mean, it seems a little light, but I could very realistically see that ending up being something that you end up actually getting.
And then the rest of this, holy shit, is this out of left field?
I was convinced the reason you picked this one, AJ, is because they trade for Austin Wagner. So
No.
Which it is really like all of these trades are just completely random people.
Yeah, we'll get there, but that Calgary deal was fun. Nikki Lieberman and Darren Helm for Austin Wagner. Like, Wagner's a guy that the Kings put on waivers earlier this year, and is a guy that I've liked, but it's like Nikki Lieberman, sure. Well, if you can get something for his rights right now, like cash that chip in. And Darren Helm's kind of a sneaky add to this because Darren Helm got traded in a lot of deals. Darren Helm makes almost no sense in any of them. But Darren Helm going to the Kings actually made sense. Because you're like, look, that's a really young team outside of a couple of dudes. Having a veteran fourth line guy for them actually makes sense. Whoa. Sprinkle it in with Nikki Lieberman. Okay, like, great. I can see where that one actually makes sense. This Pittsburgh deal, Abe Kubel for Juuso Riikola and a 5th round pick. I literally shrugged and just went, what? Why?
I don't think you're going to get a 5th round pick for a guy who was waived this season.
Yeah. Keep scrolling. Also, my goodness.
The 75K retained just randomly.
That was the one. That was the one where I was like, what an odd number.
Then you have Dennis Gilbert for
my
Jordan
favorite part
Cole.
of this.
Just 2 random dudes.
Yep. Jordan Cole, WHL defenseman, a prospect. Sure. Dennis Gilbert does fit like the Daryl Sutter
archetype of defenseman for sure.
Neat, I guess.
Hey, no, this is a real trade.
Yeah.
Lehkonen, Kulak, a 4th and a 3rd for Murray, Bocage, and Colorado's 1st.
So that's where the 1st went in the Giroux deal.
Yeah.
It's gone.
I don't think you get
Montreal's not making.
I don't think Avs get picks back in that deal.
Yeah.
Especially with them retaining on Lehkonen.
Yeah, I mean, Lehkonen's getting completely overrated in this market right now. You're talking like Montreal fans are like, he's getting 1st. And it's like, I don't think that he is, because like I tweeted the other day, he's like the 8th best forward in this market that is considered to be available. Why would you trade a 1st for a guy that's good? He is a hard 3rd line guy. Sometimes a 4th line guy. We're talking about a guy that is a depth player. He's a quality bottom 6 player, but not a guy that you're looking at promoting in your lineup or thinking that there's a lot of upside for him to grow in your lineup like Nichushkin has, right? Like, if that's the feeling, then if you're of that belief, then you're probably lying to yourself, and the 1st round pick is probably worth it. But if this guy comes in and continues to be who he has been his entire career, just with the other talent available at the deadline, I have a really hard time buying 1st round pick for Artturi Lehkonen. And Brett Kulak is like a depth guy. Like he's okay. He's a decent 3rd pairing dude, but that's it. That's all there is. This isn't like a wonderful analytics find or anything. He's just all right.
So what you're saying is this is a way overcomplicated trade that should
be for me, because there were a lot of 1st round picks for Lehkonen and Kulak combinations that I sifted through. And for me, each one of them, I just kind of shook my head and I was like, I'm just not doing it. I'm sure Montreal would love it, but I'm not doing it. I think it's just bad business.
We throw in one more trade with Nathan Bastian for a 4th and then Curtis McDermott, presumably for salary cap reasons.
I'm good.
Yeah, I want to see the roster. Like, how's the roster set up on the defensive side as well here? Okay.
Just Kulak on the bottom pair.
Yeah.
Bastian as your 7th, and then Juuso Riikola randomly as your 8th. I feel like you did a lot of work to accomplish almost nothing.
Like, I mean, you look at the forward core and like Giroux on your top line next to McKinnon and Rantanen. That's sick, right? Like, you're hell yeah. And then Lehkonen next to Newhook and Burakovsky. You're looking at that 3rd line. You're like, wow, that could be fun. But Wagner is more of the same. He's the same thing as Logan O'Connor.
Yep.
So you haven't helped out your fourth line much there. And your defensive depth move was Brett Kulak. Like, again, who isn't a bad player.
Yeah.
But
it doesn't make you much better. Yeah.
Yeah. Is he an upgrade over either one of the Johnsons? I don't think so.
Okay. Next. This one is just DNVR TDL, and it starts off banging out Jacob Chikrin for Sam Girard and Martin Cow.
Skip it. Move on.
We talked about this. On the watch along with Petey. Sam Girard for Jacob Chikrin straight up, and he said no. He said that from Colorado side they shouldn't do it.
I agree.
Shocking.
But do we think this is even a realistic price for Arizona for Chikrin?
No.
They want more?
I would not understand. The only really big selling point of Sam Girard is the contract. Like he's like
it's good
there.
Value, sure.
And like their hardest sell right now is convincing people to play for them. So getting a guy that's signed for his entire 20s to stay there and just be like, you're stuck, bud. Like,
isn't that just what Jacob Chikrin is right now, though?
Yeah, kind of. Except a lot of teams want Jacob Chikrin, and are willing to pay a high price for it. Although, obviously, not that high of a price because he's still there. So, and then Kaut is kind of just like I don't understand the throw in there. I'm just sure. I don't know why Colorado would have to add, but alrighty.
Then you have another Yarncroke trade. This time it's Jost instead of Confer. Same kind of deal where it's fairly lateral. I guess.
Yeah, it's basically the same exact deal, just with Jost instead of Confer.
Yeah. And then you have another Giroux and Braun trade. We don't have to get into it too much since we've talked about it a lot, but this one is Confer, Ranta, Foodie, a third, a fifth, a sixth, and a seventh. And this is some NHL 22 bullshit.
I picked this one because this is secretly one of us. Because they traded all of their draft picks, the remaining draft picks this year, that we don't have to worry about covering the draft at all.
Don't worry. I did that. I did do that.
I got rid of as many draft picks as I could just for this year. So it's like I mostly just because I would just love for some team to do that at some point. Like we got nothing.
All in one trade though.
We've got a table there, but that's Yeah,
and then he adds Drew Hellison, but there's no first round pick. There's no second round pick. This was just I'm trying to get the value bar.
Somehow it still feels like Drew Hellison needs to be Justin Barron, and even then, if I'm Philly, I'm like, I
didn't get a first or second round pick for Claude Giroux and Justin Braun. I am bad at my job.
Yeah.
And I'm retaining a bunch of salary.
So. Yeah, I'm eating all this money for these guys to play elsewhere. Yeah. So I did love this though, because it was just like, oh, the draft this year? No, thank you. And then he moves on. A Stefan Matteau, the most random of throwers. Like if it had been Dylan Sakura, you're at least like, oh, he's been a top AHL player.
That's not even like a salary thing because that dude's in the AHL.
Right, but at least with Sakura, you're like, oh, he's been great in the AHL this year. He can help he can help whatever they've called the AHL team now. Or, maybe this guy's right. But no, it was Stefan Matteau. We were like, what the fuck? For Cal Clutterbuck, and again, money gets retained.
Yeah, lots of retention going on.
Lots of teams hooking the abs up in these deals
for no
He's
price.
Under the cap space, though. Under the cap space. Scroll down a little bit more. Let's see what this roster looks like because there's got to be a lot of guys on it.
Clutterbuck on the fourth line. Giroux centering the first line.
Hell yeah, Nathan McKinnon, left wing, notorious left wing.
Yeah, he has Bowen Byram on LTIR to make the cap work somehow.
And Jacob Chikrin next to Eric Johnson. So you got Justin Braun to play next to Jack Johnson.
Have you actually made your defense worse?
I think so.
Yeah.
Yikes. All right, so we finally got a proper roast in there. That one got pretty roasted. Let's go to the next.
I mean, it wasn't off to a great start when the first trade Jesse shouted, "Just move on."
What do we got next? The DNVR Philly special.
This is
Starts off with the Claude Giroux trade, but a little bit different. This one comes with Morgan Frost. I have no idea why Philly would trade Morgan Frost.
yeah.
JT Comfort, Nikolai Kovalenko, Martin Kaut, Justin Barron, and a first. Avs also get a sixth back for reasons.
Got to even it up, bud.
No, oh, okay.
Just feeling like it was just not quite enough from Philly's side of things. Comfort, again, money. Kovalenko, that's a name we haven't seen much of, that we will see more later.
No.
Kovalenko could be an interesting guy, right? Like, if he ever wants to come to North America, I think there would be value in him.
I agree.
As a depth guy in the NHL. Martin Kaut, again, just drop him in the NHL. Justin Barron at a first. That probably does it for Philly. I think that's a fair deal for Philly, but the Morgan Frost part of it is Walt.
Yeah, there's just no incentive for Philly to put Morgan Frost into anything.
Yeah.
This
Oscar Olesen, Ryan Murray, and a third-round pick for Carson Soucy and Jonas Donskoy. Walt.
That's a second-round pick.
Sorry, a second-round pick. Walt.
Yeah, that's the why. That's so expensive.
Like, the Ryan Murray part feels good.
Sure, but
the second round pick for those two guys feels good, but then you've just given away Oscar Olesen.
Yeah. Nope.
Also, how are you fitting all these dudes into your lineup? I guess they trade Jost and Kubel down there. Okay, for Nick Ritchie.
Yeah, I'm confused. This was one where the thought process, I was like, okay, so the team is first in the NHL. You've traded Sampo Ranta, a non-roster player, for Jake Evans, a roster player. Then you also trade Tyson Jost and Abe Kubel, and a third for Nick Ritchie. Nick Ritchie, who was available like a month ago,
literally for free.
And you've traded three pieces for him.
This is the trade where he got the end of the moves he made and realized he was $3 million over the cap and went, oh shit.
Yeah.
Just get rid of the checking line. Let's go.
Yeah, and so can you scroll back up just so I can see all of the deals at the same time? Okay, so first place team in the NHL has moved on from 1, 2, 3, 4 of their regulars, and they have added 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 new regulars with a top prospect in return.
Why?
That's the first place team in the NHL. That's a lot of turnover.
What's the lineup look like for this?
Yeah. The lineup looks like training camp because nobody knows who anybody else is anymore.
Claude Giroux's on the third line?
Look, we talked about getting help for Newhook. This does it.
That's true.
Claude Giroux and Jonas Donskoy gets him some help. You basically have a whole new fourth line with Nick Ritchie, Jake Evans, and Logan O'Connor. And then Carson Soucy is just now next to Sam Girard.
Okay. So,
and hey, Morgan Frost didn't even make this team. He sure will.
Anything featuring Oscar should not be allowed. Just you're not trading that piece away.
That was a lot. That's a lot of work. I mean, look, you love your third line, right? But your system is basically dead.
Yep, you have nothing left.
Yeah.
It's just
Giroux's not playing on the third line either.
Yeah, that's not happening.
So he's like, no, I'm not doing that.
Okay, on to the next one. I think we're ready to move on again.
That was intense.
Vowels are overrated.
We have a site with a vowel now. You guys gotta drop this joke.
The O's in there. We're good. The O's in there.
Yeah, look at that. That's money.
Shane Bowers for Jet Woo.
This one right here is the whole reason I wanted to do this one, because this is a great example of what
mad value for ads on this one.
Just why?
Jesse, is this yours?
Yeah, and then Phil Kessel Phil Kessel for a third and a sixth. Do you guys? I think that's actually probably right around where I would value him at this point.
You couldn't get him for just the third. You'd have to throw in the sixth for the retention, I guess.
Probably. Like I think you probably could get him for just the third. But the sixth, the sixth, is that a next year sixth?
It is.
Yeah.
Yes.
Come on, get rid of this year's. Coward.
And then the big Giroux move, Barron, Comfer, a first and a fourth.
Another iteration of Claude Giroux to Colorado.
It feels relatively within line for price there.
Yeah, I just love Jet Woo for Shane Bowers.
Hey,
we're giving up Justin Barron, so we've got to replace him in the prospect pipeline with Jet Woo. Okay, I'm good.
This is over cap. Unless they just didn't.
I mean, they didn't do the retention correctly.
Yeah, they didn't do the retention.
Yeah.
It is way over cap though. Like I don't know if the retention would save it.
Yeah,
on both of those.
Yeah.
Did they
get you halfway there?
They didn't do either correctly. Yeah.
Okay. That's a lot of money.
I think they're probably still over if they do them correctly, but.
Is there anybody you can drop off that line?
Yeah, who's scratched? Scroll down a little more.
Wow,
that'd be hard to get to the cap there. You'd have to, you'd have to ship out like Murray to somebody.
Anyway, point is, I just like Jet Woo in that. I thought that was funny.
Okay,
it's just the most random. It's just the most random. Like somebody was like, "All right, I need a prospect to replace Justin Barron. You know who got Jet Woo is the man."
On to the next before AJ loses it more about Jet Woo. Somebody call the doctor because we're all in. And you start off by getting Paul Stastny straight up for Tyson Jost, off to a great start.
It's kind of what I did. Oh, are we at mine already?
Why does Winnipeg say yes to this?
Well, they're going to lose Paul Stastny for nothing in the offseason, and Tyson Jost is cheaper and is younger and can play in their bottom
six. They've got to be asking for a pick there.
There's got to be something else in addition to Tyson Jost. I agree with you, but I don't think the concept is too far off.
Okay, sure. I'll give you the benefit of the doubt on that one.
Wow.
You then pay literally nothing for Mark Giordano.
Yo, that third round pick is thing.
My God, come on.
Let's get to that one.
Yeah, Abe Kubel and Keaton Middleton. We have a Keaton Middleton signing. So nice. They want a first for Gio, just so we're clear here. Well, they're not gonna. They know better.
They might not get a first, but they'll get a second. I think a second or a third is probably like maybe a conditional third that becomes a second based on success is probably. I think they'll get a second, but yeah. But for Abe Kubel and Keaton. Yeah, I don't know. Those are just two random guys.
Yeah, and then my favorite part of this is the dude just takes a hatchet to the rest of the roster.
See you, Berkey. Trades a 2024 second, Ryan Murray and Shane Bowers alongside Berkey for Claude Giroux.
First of all, not enough.
Yeah,
because Burakovsky is not going to have value in that deal as a pending UFA.
And then you just lose your mind to go get Patrick Kane and Ryan Carpenter.
Yeah,
it's also probably not enough.
Also, love that every single player Colorado got in return has retention.
Yeah. Retain them all, baby.
Everybody helping Colorado out with the retention on this. Just to fit it cap-wise. They
squeak
just
it under.
barely made it work.
And so now you have Patrick Kane on your top line.
Chicago
Wow.
trading a franchise legend and an icon, and arguably its best player ever in Patrick Kane. I don't even remember what the return was, but I'd be willing to bet
There was a first in there, but it wasn't enough.
Yeah, can you scroll
This
back
is like
up
an
to
entirely
the Kane deal?
it's a new team. It's an entirely new team right there.
Yeah, the Chicago not only helping out by retaining, also taking JT Compher's contract off of the Avs' hands. And then I guess you get a number of bye Blaise. You get a number of random prospects thrown in as well, but not Justin Barron or Oscar Olesen.
Yeah, the Colorado's top 2 prospects somehow do not make it into a Patrick Kane deal.
After they had already survived a Claude Giroux deal. And then they survive a Patrick Kane deal too. The Avs do have a new player on every line. So that's neat. And then Mark Giordano.
Yeah.
Woo, barely made that. Barely.
Such hot takes that these deals were such lava that they melted Blaise's internet.
Yeah. Blaise decided he heard us roasting these and was like, I better dip before they get to mine. Next up. Botchamania.
Yep, you guys wanted absolute mayhem.
God.
Here it is.
Oh my God. Okay. Chikrin and Krause for Barons, Comfort, Jost, Ranta, Murray, and the first.
Off to a banging start here.
What? I don't even know how to parse that trade. I don't even know where to start. And then, oh yeah, it's this one. Okay. A 3-way trade between Colorado, Vancouver, and New York, where New York ends up with JT Miller and Abe Kubel. The Avs end up with Luke Shen, Bo Horvat, Alexei Lafreniere, Vitaly Kravitsov, and a first. And then Vancouver ends up with Martin Kaut, Bowers, Hellison, Byram, Helm, and a second.
Don't forget that the Avs also got Chikrin and Krause.
Earlier, yes.
Yeah. So you want to talk about taking hatchet to your roster, to really to your whole organization.
What has happened here?
Yeah, so scroll on down and we can see what this roster looks like after absolute madness has ensued.
So you have Horvat and Lafreniere on your third line, with Krause on your fourth line. Your defense is now Chikrin and Luke Shen alongside the others.
It's a lot of work to do absolutely nothing to your top 6.
Yes, agreed.
Yeah,
that's all
I
have to say about this one.
I
this
mean,
one isn't even worth.
Look, Bo Horvat on your third line is hilarious, right? Like,
sure, you're putting him on the second, but still.
Also, all of this, somehow Justin Barron again, once again,
survives
the mayhem.
You traded all of those dudes.
Just a bloodbath here. So you get Horvat, Newhook, and Lafreniere on your third line. That's quite a third line.
It'd be fun.
That's probably the best third line in the NHL.
It just cost you your entire organization to get it.
Yeah. Yeah, except for Justin Barron.
Except for he's the savior, okay?
Dude, just keep surviving. Yeah, Horvat would obviously play center on that one because he can actually win faceoffs and he's dope. But yeah, that's a
lot to do.
I like that Zach is mad about real trade possibilities. Like, we didn't spend the first 20 minutes of the show on things that we all thought were realistic.
Like, this is interesting. Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah, we got one more here, real quick,
and then we'll get to ours.
Yeah, this one's not particularly interesting. This is just what would it look like if the Avs wanted to go get everyone they used to have?
Yeah, this was entirely getting the band back together.
Yeah.
My favorite part about these is that the commenters who take everything very, very seriously on this website missed the point of this. Did not realize that this person was just bringing back old Avs.
Yep. Holden, Nieto, Belmar, Stasny. They could have taken it a few steps further and gotten like Donskoy and Nemeth too.
Zadorov.
Yeah, Big Z. That would have been funny. It's not Evans because Zadorov isn't part of the package. Yeah. Evan definitely would have brought in Zadorov again. All right, so that was just a fun, quick one I wanted to look at. We are brought to you, beautiful people, by Breckenridge Brewery, the official beer of DNVR. Clearly, some of you have been drinking some Breck Brew based on some of those trades that you guys are coming up with. So.
That three-way one with the Rangers was straight fire.
Maybe lighten up on the Breck Brews a little bit for that one. But check them out.
Just don't mix your weed and your Breck Brews.
There you go.
All right.
Keep them separate.
Or at least make sure you do it in the right order.
Like your light shade is your light shade, your Breck Brew is your Breck Brew.
Both equally great.
Yeah.
Be responsible.
Be careful.
We're going to make a drinking game out of the trade deadline. Every time a trade is announced, take a shot, and that's how you make the GMs do that. And that's how you end up.
If it's anything like the last few years, you'll be fine. And then at 3 p.m., the rest of your day is ruined. Yeah.
They were talking about
sober until 3.
They were talking about over under last year's deadline moves, and last year ended up with like 38 deals.
Really?
And I was like, "What the? That sounds so high."
It's a bunch of like small ones.
Sure, like there are plenty of like the Graves beat route like AHL player swap deals that end up in there, but still, it's like it's crazy to me that there were that many.
So, okay. Go get your Breck Brew. Also, be sure to check out the American Raptors over at Infinity Park in Glendale. If you're into rugby at all, they have a great product over there. Also, where the USA men's and women's 15 teams play. You can get tickets to the Raptors games for literal free if you go to their website. So go to AmericanRaptors.com. Go watch a free rugby game. Infinity Park is insanely dope. If you haven't been there, it's a great place to go check any kind of sporting event, have a beer, and just enjoy your evening. Third period of the DNVR Avalanche podcast presented by DraftKings Sportsbook. All right, let's get to ours. We have the three of us, Blaise and MEGHAN'S as well.
Yep, Megan snuck one in here.
Yep.
There's a theme here.
Paul Stasny for JT Compher and Martin Kaut, where the Avs actually retaining a little on Compher. Dylan
nice
Gambrell for Tyson Jost, 1-for-1. Scott Mayfield and Kiefer Bellows for Darren Helm, Justin Barron, and a third. And then Danton Heinen for Kiefer Sherwood and Knack.
What do these deals all have in common? Anybody know?
I mean,
Are these all like what?
Go ahead.
Well, I'll say these all like DU guys or something.
They are.
Yeah.
Outside of Kiefer Bellows.
I was gonna say that. Well, now and that was why I paused.
I'm not sure why Kiefer Bellows is in here.
But I was gonna say it's all DU guys. Then I was like, no, I'm almost positive Kiefer Bellows wasn't.
Yeah. So really went with the theme there. Remade the bottom six, the entire fourth line.
Yep.
Pios.
And added Scott Mayfield for the fun of it. Okay, so
Megan, with a very, very specific vision, just bring the Pios home.
What if DU was an NHL team?
Yeah, right. Surprised there was no Will Butcher on there.
Ooh, true. Okay, I don't know whose is next. One of ours.
It should be Blaise because he's not here now, so we can just properly
get it in.
We can properly just dunk on his nonsense.
All right. So first of all, he goes and gets Matt Roy from the Kings for Eric Johnson and a third.
The Avs say yes, running away.
Kings doing the Avs a solid, just taking EJ's cap hit.
And he's agreeing to waive now.
weeks before being able to go on a legitimate cup run.
Yeah. Nick Schmaltz for JT Compher and a 6th. Given Nick Schmaltz has 11 points in his last 3 games, don't think that's enough.
Yep, that's bad. Arizona giving up on one of the only players whatsoever that has any talent on that roster for JT Compher. And I love the 6th. I'm not sure how that got the deal done, but hell yeah. Bill Armstrong is on the PHNX pod right now. We can just ask him. How do you feel?
I think that's probably a hard no. Thomas Hertl for Tyson Jost, a 1st and a 4th.
Again, just stealing.
Joe Sakic has drugged all the other GMs in the
Yeah,
league.
they played that shot game, and he waited until the very end when everybody was very, very drunk and was saying yes to whatever.
Blaise gets great prices out here. Is Blaise the guy that goes to the store and haggles? He's like, I'll give you $7 for this $20 item.
Blaise is the one who I love this. Like, why?
4th for Ryan Murray.
It's cap dump. I don't know. I don't know why they'd send a 4th back for just Ryan Murray, but I looked up and it made sense for 1/2 second. I was like,
you remember when they got Shane Gostisbehere completely for free? Philadelphia was just like, please take it. Go, 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 go.
The entire lineup ends up being Hertl on your 2nd line and Schmaltz on your 3rd line with Matt Roy as your 2nd pairing D, I guess.
All right. So Blaise made the Avs a lot better at the cost of essentially nothing.
Impressive. Great work, really.
Yeah. That was the goods. This is why when Blaise tweeted out, they're laughing at me because those were all pipe dreams, to put it politely. Especially Nick Schmaltz for JT Compher straight up was Eric Johnson is gonna fetch an actual top 4D in Matt Roy.
Okay. Who's next? One of us 3. Okay, it's me. So I did the Claude Giroux and Justin Braun trade.
You son of a bitch! You got rid of Steinberg?
Yeah. And Steinberg? Oh, now he's back. Now he's back.
My computer shit out. What happened? Did you guys do mine yet?
Yeah.
Yep. We literally just got done calling all of your trades terrible.
The short version was you underpaid for literally everything. Like, are you the person that goes to the flea market and is like, I'll give you $5 for this thing you have listed for $50?
I mean, it's Sakic, right? So, it could happen.
Great point. The man makes a great argument.
AJ. The whole time I was putting it together, I was just laughing. I was like, this is going to be sweet. Everyone's just giving stuff to the Avs because they want them to win this year.
You already know my favorite part.
That part's real.
Yeah.
So, I gave up a bunch of stuff for Claude Giroux and Justin Braun. Steinberg is essentially just to fill it, and you can put whatever prospect of mid-grade that you want there.
You son of a bitch.
And then a 1st, a 3rd, and a 5th. Then I went out and got Lehkonen for a 2nd and JT Compher.
That's more of the price that I would pay.
Yeah, same.
Montreal fans are not going to like that. But I mean, Montreal fans don't like anything. So.
That's fine. They're going to be mad. And then for fun, I traded a 6th and 7th for Nicholas Milosh to be an 8th D and to make sure I had no picks this year.
To make sure that we all get yelled at again.
Yep. So essentially, it's just Giroux and Braun with Lehkonen on the 3rd line. And then Milosh is an 8th D just in case, because people would be mad that I don't have extra D and no picks.
That 4th line is 4th line is rough, but that 3rd line is nasty.
Deadly. It's deadly.
So I mean, really, that whole top 9. whatever combination you wanted in that top 9.
Yeah, you can move them around. Yeah,
you really, really like that, and I like that Braun helps that. Can we pull up the roster just real quick again? I really like that Braun, like, if Byram doesn't come back, you just move Braun up one.
Slot Braun up one, and you have the Johnsons at the bottom.
Yeah, because you keep in mind, like, Justin Braun has played on the top pairing in Philly at times this year out of necessity.
Yep.
And has, like, survived those minutes.
Yep.
So
it's been not terrible.
Yeah, I really, and then whatever you do with the Johnsons at that point, it's just like whatever, right? Yeah. Like if you have that top 5,
interchange them, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Okay. So now it's either Jesse or AJ.
Hey, I don't get to see my cartoon that much. I always love when I see it.
Jesse,
yours isn't red though either.
Very similar to the trade that I did. Yeah, I was very red. You're right. I was very devilish.
Yeah, I don't have as much
sunburn. Yeah, dude, that is.
I didn't realize just how red until you switched from mine to RUDO'S. Yeah.
Oh,
Jesse
yeah.
just
Look at that one.
Jesse needs to spend some time in the sun. That's what it is.
Bro, I just recovered from a sunburn. I can't for a while. Yeah, no, I laughed at the beginning because you were like, oh, there were so many Justin Braun and Claude Giroux trades. And that was what I did. So my initial deals that I was doing wasn't, it actually didn't even have Giroux. But then once I got all the way through, I was like, no, I can make this work with Claude Giroux. I don't think Philly's going to have a problem retaining. These are both expiring deals. In order to get something back, they'll hold on to it. Send him Sean Behrens. He plays with another Philly prospect at DU, so I think they'll like that. JT Comfort got to take the cap dump back. Martin Kaut is a young roster player they can plug in on their 4th line right away. 1st round pick, 3rd round pick, you can make it a conditional 2nd if you want. Gets those 2 guys coming back instead of letting them lose for nothing. And then they're sending back a 4th round pick just because why not?
I think Philly wants a little more here.
Yeah, so my question would be why Behrens instead of Hellison or...
Because he plays with one of their top prospects at DU.
So because they watch a lot of Bobby Brink, they're going to value Behrens the way that they'll value Behrens more than Hellison?
Well, it's not because they watch him a lot. Because you have 2 guys that play together.
I mean, like
each other. Yeah.
So, because I think the conversation between Behrens and Hellison is really Hellison is closer to the NHL, but Behrens probably has the higher upside. But long term, Cam York is already there, and he kind of does the Sean Behrens thing already.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah. So I don't know.
I would be fascinated to find out how the Flyers felt about Behrens, Hellison, and how that hierarchy worked itself out in their front office.
I think if it's Barron, or rather if it's Hellison or Behrens, I don't care. They can have whichever one they want, right?
Yeah.
Well, dude, honestly, I mean, Justin Barron is the one that I really like. If I'm wishing for things, like I'd really like for him to stay around, but replace Behrens with any of those 3 guys, and I'm probably not gonna
win every other trade we look at magically
scoff at it too much, right?
Yeah. And what sucks is that you can't, like, with Cap Friendly, you can't just be like any one of these 3, please.
Right.
Whichever one they like the most, I'm good with that guy going for that deal.
No, I did Behrens because there's a level of familiarity with another prospect, and you say, maybe that's something.
Yeah, I mean, it is true that they will be watching a lot of DU because of Brink. So
right, so maybe you could talk yourself into, wow, we're just high enough on that guy. But you get the first.
Behrens is just a freshman, where you're probably free to let him develop for 2 more years, and they can figure out what they have in Cam York at the NHL level, and if they have a stud, then they can move Behrens. If they don't, then you sign Behrens, and then he can be the guy that Cam York was supposed to be.
Right.
So I think
Zach losing his mind over it being an underpay, but I really don't think that one's that.
I don't
far
either.
Off from what
I don't think it is at all either. I was just curious why Behrens as the preference.
And it was the fact that
the Brink connection is a good one.
Yeah, but again, swap that out with any of those top 3 D prospects, and I think you're pretty close. I technically have a third team as part of this, but I didn't really know how to do it, so I'm sure that'll come up here in just a second. But so then this is my next one, and let me walk you through the thinking here. I promise there's a thought process here. So it's Sampo Ranta for Phil Kessel, 1-for-1. Then you throw in the third, and I threw in Nick Henry because why not?
Why not?
For the retention, and then it's the 5th for them taking Ryan Murray, or swap that however you want to. So you give a prospect and a pick for the retention, then you give an extra pick for them taking on what would be a serviceable player for them in Ryan Murray. And then the 7th comes back. It's Vancouver's next year. They don't give a shit anyways.
I actually think this is fine value.
This is way too much.
It's way over, like it's way convoluted, right? But it's fine.
Right. It was when I hit like the submit trade button, it took about 10 minutes for me to like talk myself. Okay, well, you get this for that, and this piece goes for that piece. All right, yeah, that all makes sense. Submit.
If you take out the third or Sampo, I probably don't care. I probably feel a lot better. But including them both in there is kind of that's kind of my stopping point.
The third was also I don't want any picks this year.
Yeah,
and then this is the part that technically ties in with the Claude Giroux deal. This is your cap dump. You've got to give up Shane Bowers to get it dumped off, and then you get your own pick back that you gave up for Curtis McDermott.
Hooray!
Okay. I don't know why they're giving Abs picks to take on cap, but
Shane Bowers, you're giving up Shane Bowers.
Oh, I don't. I think that's the cost.
They'll probably just wait for him to go on waivers next year.
So you got Giroux on that top line, second line as it is. A lot of offense on your third line because you got your shutdown line in the second group now. LOC slides down. You got a little bit of your try hard there on the bottom group. And then, my D looks pretty similar to what Rudo's was.
Yep.
Braun with EJ, assuming Byram's back.
Yep.
Yeah.
Looks good.
McDermott survived all these trades because nobody wants McDermott.
Yeah, because we're like,
there's no value in it.
Nobody wants him.
And the Avs value his presence more than anything you'd get back in a trade.
For sure. Okay.
All right, I guess we have to finish with mine.
You're up.
My super boring ones.
Calvin DeHaan and Ryan Carpenter.
Yeah, Ryan Carpenter.
For Comfer Bowers, a second and a third.
I had this as just Comfer and a second and third because for DeHaan, and then I was like, look, they're going to trade for Ryan Carpenter. I've been talking about it for a whole goddamn year. I might as well just do it.
All right.
And so I put in Shane Bowers.
If Shane Bowers is Sampo Ranta, do you still do it?
Sure.
Okay. I'm good with that.
That's again, that was one where, all right, well, Zach Praise.
AJ's entire thing is misspelled. I love it.
Yeah, so I have Zach Parise on mine for Abe Kubel in a third. I really did. I have genuinely, I did Abe Kubel because I was like, he probably fit with the Islanders if they like him. The third round pick is obviously like the piece here. I have no idea what his value would be. Truly, have no idea what it would be. And I was running out of picks after the DeHaan thing. So.
Yeah, I think the problem there is if Joe Sakic calls up the Islanders, they go 2 seconds.
No, we're not talking to you. They're not taking that call.
And then I traded for Stastny,
God.
I gave up Tyson Jost, Martin Kaut, and Kovalenko because I just wasn't sure Martin Kaut was going to be enough with Jost.
This is your bunch of dudes trade.
Kind of, yeah. But this is also like I'm familiar enough with the Jets organization to know like they could really use some of these dudes.
Sure, they're playing Dom Toninato every night.
Yeah. Exactly. Like their bottom six is actually fucking horrible. Man.
I like that trade.
So This is kind of where I had it. This sort of the alignment that I had was I had Stastny up on top with McKinnon and Mikko, but I'm obviously open to moving him anywhere in the lineup.
I hate that trade all of a sudden.
And then, and like Stastny was another guy. Stastny, that Stastny also misspelled.
There's a lot of misspelled. You got Pavel Francouz.
Yeah, we like dunking on Yahir here. Just it ended up being roasting Yahir. I have McDermott just as the extra center. I forgot to make him as the extra forward. I forgot to make him as a healthy scratch, but that's where he is.
Yeah.
But yeah, I like my top 9 is really like the whole point of this is that my top 9 I feel like is really versatile and can do a lot of things. The left side, I feel like all 3 of those guys are totally interchangeable. And if Landy were to move back over to the left side, could also like these dudes fit kind of anywhere.
I think you're overselling Paul Stastny a lot, but
I think like Stastny, I don't like he's not a first line player anymore. So going back to like Landy or Berkey there would be fine, and then having him next to Parise and Newhook would also be fine.
Yeah.
Like the whole point of this for me is that I think the top 9 is really versatile and they can have a lot of different alignments that can do a lot of different things. My goal was to get Newhook help and then help on defense. Can I pull that lineup back up? And then, so I have DeHaan and with Jack Johnson / Ryan Murray / Eric Johnson as my third pairing. And if there's no Byram Bowen, if there's no Byram, if he doesn't come back, then DeHaan is next to Gerard.
I like the Stastny, Parise, Newhook. Just make somebody play on their off wing there.
Pretty much, and that was also like I did all the trades and I was like, shit, I don't have a right wing for this line. part of what I wanted to do was put LOC on the 4th line.
Oh.
Yeah.
To get him back to an appropriate spot. So I wanted that, and so that was why like I did a bunch of smaller things. I didn't go big with the Giroux thing, but I felt like my roster is pretty competitive. I feel like I filled holes because Stastny could still win faceoffs.
Okay.
At a high level. Like he's still like a 53% guy, man. Like he can still do that. And he can play kind of anywhere in your forward lineup.
The only thing I couldn't get done that I tried really hard to do is I tried to find enough room to add Craig Anderson as a third goalie.
Oh my God. So many people did this move too.
Yeah. A lot of people did this.
And I think they'll at least ask on it. Cause I think they'll try to add a third goaltender there. But just didn't work money wise. And I was like, don't want it that bad.
That's one reason why I don't think they're going to add a third goalie is I don't think that they're just going to carry a third guy. Like, I think they're going to prioritize everything else. They're going to spend all their cap space, and they're just going to be like, okay, is there a third goalie out there that we want to go
that can fit? Yeah.
That we can also afford.
Right.
So I think that's where they have the problem with that. But yeah, I mean, a third goalie, I guess, maybe.
Okay.
If anybody clears waivers in the next month, that's a guy that I would be like, wait for him to. If he clears waivers, then trade for him.
Mm-hmm.
So we good? Have we gotten our roasting out?
Yeah. I mean, which one of us ended up with the best roster? I think I probably like yours guys' because you guys basically did the same thing.
Yeah, I mean,
with the addition of Kessel.
I think I like Lehkonen more than Kessel, but obviously I traded for him, so
yeah. I mean, obviously BLAIS'S roster is the best because they didn't give anything up and they got way, way, way better.
Let's go. Everyone wants the Avs to win. Look at that line. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, awesome. I tried to the big move that I was going to make, if I was going to make a big move, was going to be Hurdle, not Giroux.
Yeah, but Hurdle's not actually going to get moved.
No, there's no way. But
either.
Yeah,
I think it's way more likely for Giroux, but Sure.
Basically, all the guys that I tried to pick up there, no one's trading. Like the Kings aren't trading Roy away. Like
that would be tough sell.
They just signed. Sure. They just gave him a new contract like a year ago or 2 years ago.
Okay. So this was a total train wreck of a show that it seems like you all loved it though. So
every year people love when we do these, and they're fun to do. They're fun to look at what everybody else's value is. I don't know why Zach was mad at unrealistic deals. That's part of the fun of the show.
Yep.
Yeah.
That you throw that dart and just be like,
look at this nonsense. So. Anyway, that was a fun time. We appreciate all of y'all who submitted lists, even if we didn't pick yours to show on the show. Don't worry. AJ looked through literally every single one and laughed at all the people who commented dumb stuff on your trades. Other than that, I guess we're out of here for the day. We appreciate all y'all. Be sure to like and subscribe here on YouTube. We are off tomorrow, but we'll be back Sunday for the Avs game, pregame, postgame, all that good stuff. You know the drill. We hope to see you there. And until then, we will talk to you on the next one.